Hello, hello. This is Christina Barr, and you're watching Black Tea News. Hello. Welcome to Black Tea News. I'm Christina Barr, I'm your host, and today we're going to be talking about a little bit about the Hollywood strike with the writers, and the actors have now joined the writers. So this is going to, I don't know, it's interesting. We'll see where it goes. I can't say, Ben Shapiro had tweeted like, nobody cares about this. I'm like, I can't say that nobody cares about it. It's all over my feed. I responded to like one video, I think watched one video, and now it's like all over my TikTok feed. So I think people definitely care about it, and I can't say that I'm ambivalent to it. I think it's interesting as far as like the stakes that they're negotiating. I can understand some of them. So many people are mad at CEO of Disney because he said that what their demands are unreasonable, but they're like, bro, you're getting paid so much money. We just want some access and to be able to feed our families, etc. And there's a cynical part of me that's like, y'all didn't have a lot of energy for people trying to feed their families during COVID. So and then I kind of hate a lot of Hollywood right now. So just like what they put out, their DEI obligations and other stuff. So it's kind of an interesting thing to watch, I guess. I'm not emotionally invested, but it's interesting from the background. Anyway, we'll talk about that. Also, a video that's kind of old, but a friend of mine, I guess it's back in March, had posted a video and a reply, and I had replied to this video too, but there was a trans woman who was talking about why you should accept cisgender, and so Savvy replied to it. And then I came across a video of someone replying to Savvy's video, so I want to play Savvy's video and I want to play their reply, and then I didn't see that Savvy had replied to their reply, so I want to go through it because I thought it was pretty remarkable, and when you guys see the video, I think you'll think it was remarkable as well. Also, Biden is like outpacing Republicans and stuff with this fundraising, which is pretty incredible. I guess we don't really hear a lot about their efforts in the news and stuff, but he's just like an old skeleton man that they're moving about. He says his lines on the card, and the fact that he's like doubling Republican contenders, I don't think that's good. He is the president, and he isn't the incumbent, and just because you guys can't feel energy behind Biden, there was no energy behind it before. I People shouldn't be so confident, even though the economy sucks and all kinds of different stuff, that any election to unseat him or dethrone him will be a slam dunk. We are living in the upside down, folks. We're living in the upside down. And we'll talk about some other things as well. But before we jump into it, I encourage you guys to go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on my website, articles, videos, etc. Please check out different merch that I have at the store, such as, let me just, we'll say the "You Are Not That Special." We also got those in cute little mugs. So give that to a very oversensitive person in your life and give them some perspective, I suppose. Also got a couple other things you guys can check out at the store. There's this "Denounce White Supremacy, Defeat Joe Biden" shirt with a list of his racism on the back. There's Charlemagne. I guess there's a clip of him going around. I didn't get to watch it yet. I just saw a headline of it. Seemed to be upset about the cocaine story falling flat, of them not figuring out who did it. And he said, "Let my people out," or something. So I'm going to have to go back and watch that. Maybe we'll talk about it on Monday if it's interesting enough. But we talked about the cocaine thing yesterday, and we're not going to go into that today. Interesting headline. that came to mind. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation at blackteennews.com/donate, cost stream, Remo website, all that good stuff. So if you can support, God bless you, very much appreciate it. You can give super chats or thanks. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, you guys can send stars. Thank you for being in the chat. I see you. Thank you to those who watch it back later. All those things really do help. So like very much appreciate you guys. God bless you. And go make sure you go to the website, drop in your emails, check out different articles. I did drop one yesterday, so you guys can read that and share that as well. So I do like to start with something funny normally. And so let me share my screen really quick. I saw this meme. It's relative to the discussion. There's a couple funny things that I saw that I wanted to share. I'm gonna have to go back and find another tweet, but there's like not a good sign. So, and of course, there's a Hollywood sign and the Spirit Halloween sign over on top of Hollywood. So, the writers have been in strike for a minute, but the actors, it was looming that they could not reach an agreement with their union with the big companies and stuff as well. So they are on strike. There's many big people like on the picket line, faces that you'd recognize who are standing with writers and other folks. And I saw Matt Damon out there speaking out, which sometimes people are like, don't y'all make like buku money? And a lot of them do, of course, obviously make buku money, but there's other people who aren't, Tom Cruise or other folks like that, and they have to subsidize their living by being grocery baggers and other things like that. They just haven't quite made it yet, so they depend on residuals and other things that they're discussing. And another interesting thing, like about some of their demands, though, because Bob Iger was saying that some of their demands are unrealistic, which people are mad about because he's getting paid a lot of money, and still getting paid a lot of money while Disney's not doing well. I guess that's a thing to think about as well. Like some of these big studios, they're not like Disney will lose like $1 billion by the end of the year on movies and stuff. It is a very good thing that they have theme parks. The theme parks make a lot of money, but their movies aren't doing well. They do have their streaming platform, but their Disney Plus is not profitable. And Disney employs, that's a big chunk of the industry right there. And they don't do licensing to other stuff because they want you all to invest into the actual app. So they might have to start licensing stuff off again. That's how they made a lot of money on different stuff. So I saw some people say that George Lucas should buy Lucasfilm back and say that the Disney Star Wars films never happened or they're not canon or whatever. I would like to see them. I'm sorry if you guys can hear a lawnmower in the background. Someone's like outside mowing lawn. I would like to see some of them go closer to the books, and I think there's different people that they could cast to be like a Leia and other folks, and continue on the story. But I don't know if George wants to do all that. And Tina pointed out in the chat that the parks haven't been doing as well lately either. A lot of people don't have disposable income like that. Go to Disney World, that is a very expensive trip. And people don't always feel like they're getting their money's worth. And people are mad at Disney for some of the garbage that they pull. Like the taking a side against the parental rights and education bill. A lot of people are upset about that. A lot of people are upset about what they do with their movies, which I want to talk a little bit about, like some stuff that we've seen about the Snow White film. There's some images that came out that just, there's only like one dwarf. Everyone is like, maybe they're not tall men, but I don't even know if they're all men. Like we'll talk about the photo, but it looks like it's going to be another bomb. And I didn't have high hopes anyway, but it looks like it's going to be another bomb for Disney. I don't know how much they're expecting. I don't know how much the budget is. But anyway, Hollywood has not been making a lot of good decisions with with their writing teams and other things like that. So I don't think people have the same love for film that they used to. Like I used to before I, did like the politics stuff all the time, me and my two older sisters, we would talk about pop culture. We'd talk about comic books and stuff. We had a channel called The Gorgeous Geeks, and we just review movies and stuff. And so many of the things that I loved then, I don't even like now. Or I'm not invested in. I'm not invested in the comic books and other things like I used to be. Like that used to be so much of our lives. We come home on Wednesday. My dad brought the comic books home, and we'd read them, and you done with that one. Okay, you take this one, etc. We talk about them, and we would go to the movies on Thursday night, opening of the films, and not just us. We'd have like church members who come along, and other like cousins and other folks like that to come and enjoy a film with us. And we just don't have that same passion because they've largely I say they hollowed them out, and different people are wearing these things that we love. They're just wearing their skin. So I just don't think a lot of people like the fandom of stuff anymore, and they've invested in so many franchises, but we don't feel like they're handling their franchises well. I saw a review of the Witcher on Netflix, which I'm not happy Henry Cavill was leaving. But I thought about watching it, but then I heard so many other things. I'm like, I'm not watching that. But I did watch a review of it, and one of the guys was just like, it's not even worth hate watching. I'm like, dang. And it really did sound like a hot mess. But if you say something about the writing or what they do with the projects, they turn against the fans. They turn against the consumer. And oh, you don't like the Ghostbusters film, it's because you're sexist. Oh, you don't like She-Hulk, it's because we planned for that. We wanted you to hate it, as a matter of fact. Okay. Not a great plan. At least it doesn't seem like a great plan to me. So if I feel like you detest me, I'm just going to be not excited to see your projects. I'm not going to invest to go see your projects. I'm not going to take time out my day to go to theater to go watch the film, or to invest in, especially in your project with streaming. When I know that's like your nest egg, the thing that you need to be successful. I'm like, if I can hurt you by not having Disney Plus or something like that, why would I get it? Can break out the old VHS or DVDs or whatever and watch something on there. I know you wouldn't have edited part out of there like they do on some of the digital stuff now. So there's just not a lot of love and enthusiasm, and people got used to not going to theaters. Matt Damon explained once on, I think, at Hot Wings, that the industry had changed so much, even from going to streaming and not doing DVDs, because they asked him, like, why don't people take more chances on like movies like they used to? And he said, because even if something didn't do very well in theaters, when the DVD came out, it would be like a second wind, of like a second opportunity for people to kind of go ahead and buy that. Or, I mean, people who like the film, they'll go out and buy the DVDs and stuff like that. But it's not like that anymore. People just, they get a subscription or to stream or whatever. So the DVD market's not like it used to be. So their model is totally different. And so I was watching an interview, I think it was on maybe CBS today. A writer was covering the strike. They were talking about some of the demands that people want with like residual payouts, like on cable and other things like that, or how it used to be. And it's just not like it was. The model's totally different. So I don't know what they're gonna get out of it. Now, I think something that's really serious that they are fighting for is to not have like their images and stuff used for forever with like AI. Like if you go to an audition or something, or you sign up for a job and you sign a contract, maybe you don't read it all the way, and they're like, by the way, we own your image forever. That could be concerning for, I think, a lot of reasons, because you don't want something. I mean, there are actors who are like, no, you can't do something with even the script unless I look at it and I approve of it. Like Jim Caviezel, for his example, worked on when he did Count of Monte Cristo, they actually changed the script, and they wanted to take like all the God stuff out. So he's like, if you guys do this, like this isn't, I'm not the person for the movie. And they're like, oh, you're one of them people, and he's like, what? I'm one of the people who wouldn't dare like rewrite Dumas or something, which they meant like, oh, you're a Christian, but they kept it in there, which it was a really good movie, one of my favorites. But a lot of actors, they have it in their contracts that they have to approve the script or look at the script or whatever. Some people have like people who actually write their lines and they don't allow like the writer to do it, I guess. Like I think on the MIB movie with Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson, they both had like writers who would write their dialogue or something. That movie wasn't very good, but imagine like you're a writer and you're an actor, and they just have your image so they can remake things and alter things. What if they make you do something you don't want to do? What if they make you do something you find to be immoral and you didn't read that contract? So I can, and the people are concerned about, AI replacing writers altogether. You know, the AI future is really, really grim. But one thing I do find interesting, though, there's a lot of people like with solidarity with the actors and other things like that, especially on TikTok. Especially, with the AI concerns. But I see a lot of people using AI for art. And I can't say it's not tempting, because there's a lot of cool things that people do with the AI, like, oh, Naruto adds Naruto characters as a Viking character. I'm like, oh, that stuff will look really cool, or people keep doing stuff like that, or and people will do AI art and try to pass it off as their own stuff. And a lot of quite a few artists that I follow are like, don't support AI, don't use it, because one, this is like stealing, it's feeding off of other people's styles to generate what it's generating. So it's kind of like it's stealing, they think, anyway. But for the same reason it could put an actor out of business or a writer out of business, don't you think it could put an artist out of business? So a lot of people who are like, oh, really concerned about, the actors and writers and other things, what about the artists? So if you're using, AI for art and other things, maybe you might want to reconsider that. I'm not saying like you're going to hell or you're, totally immoral, but I just, want to caution that, put that thought out there in the atmosphere, that maybe different things that you might have commissioned someone to make before, they're not getting that job because you told a computer to do it instead. And yeah, the eyes are sometimes a little funny. It really has trouble with hands. That's one of the tells. And then some people, they get blasted online. They're like, you're such a bad artist that you couldn't even go in and fix the things that the computer couldn't get right. Like you can go in there and fix the hands and other stuff like that. But it'll get better. Soon you won't be able to tell the difference, maybe. Unless you can just, I don't know, look at a piece and say, I don't feel the artist's soul in this. So it's something to consider. It's something to consider. I mean, I get people using it. It's really nifty. I can't say it's not tempting. Especially like I got all these cool book characters. It'd be cool just to like have an image or something. But I'm like, I would rather one, be able to just, I don't have the time to really draw that stuff myself so much. I can draw. It just takes me a minute and I have like a billion other things to do. But I would rather be able to pay an artist some kind of, to compensate them for their work, have something real, have something that someone labored over, that they put their heart, their mind, their soul into a project. So AI is going to be bad for a lot of people. And you could say, well, just technology evolves and you just have to learn how to adapt. And that's true in life. But with stuff, especially like with the art, when it's like kind of taking from other people's ideas and work, and or if they're taking other people's images, like I guess what could possibly happen, like if someone accidentally sells their likeness and all of a sudden someone is in a movie that they didn't sign off on or something, and it's like just holodeck kind of Star Trek stuff all day long. um you know Again, that's using someone's, like, if you got accidentally signed off on it or did sign off on it, guess you did what you did. But there are people who are using AI. Like there was one woman who was there's a story went pretty viral online. Someone had used AI for her to do like sexual things, and so she was crying online and stuff. And people were like, "Oh, it's not a big deal. It's not even you." I'm like, that's people should not be able to do that. I don't know legally how they would, you know, be able to stop that, or um but she was just crying and crying, and these disgusting guys are just like, no, she should consider it to be a compliment because someone took your image and put you like in a porno. Like, really, really no values, just absolutely disgusting. um so I get them with the AI, the actors and the writers, and I understand that. Um but I don't know, part of me is is like well, I was going to go into a big rant like you guys didn't care about nobody about COVID and stuff. But Fran Dresser, she was the nanny, you know, the nanny, that show. She's the president of SAG. So she actually did try to fight for people who were unvaxxed within the union. And so I was reading a story before I came on about how different emails revealed that she really tried to get rid of I guess some of the mandates and try to fight for the workers. And but she said that she was actually willing to strike for it. But she didn't have the support to do that. So I guess I understand that. If I don't know how much her as an individual out in public was saying something. um but if she was fighting them behind the scenes, to try to fight for those people, I think that's good. But I do think all these people as individuals could have tried to stand for the hairdressers, the people who wanted to open their gyms, the people who wanted to go to church, the you know people who had all kinds of different businesses that they said were not essential and that they couldn't work. And there's one video, I didn't find it in time before the show started, but I've shown it before. But there was one woman out in California. She was, doing a protest. She owned a restaurant, and she went and she had done all this outside stuff to be able to have her patrons come and eat outside. And then the Newsom or whatever said it's not enough, you guys have to shut down again or whatever. So she was arranging a protest, and she went to her restaurant to just grab some things for the protest. And she goes outside, and there's like a catering thing set up not too far from her restaurant. And there's a catering group because they have food and stuff for their actors or whatever. And so she's upset, she's crying, she's frustrated, and she's like, how can you guys tell me that this isn't safe for me to run my restaurant? I spent all this money to try to get to be compliant, to try to have some money for my business to stay afloat, and you have to shut me down, but you guys approve a catering company so they can have actors do stuff. I remember, like, still during the pandemic or whatever, one time me and my sister, we were watching The Masked Singer, and then we saw they had an audience, and we're just like, this isn't possible. We're like, how do they have a live studio audience right now? Like, Hollywood did not seem to play by the same rules as everyone else. But you had people like Arnold Schwarzenegger really disappointed me, who was just like, bleep your freedoms. And I'm like, Negro, you live like on a farm. All this money and access, and other people are trapped in their tiny like homes and apartments or whatever, losing their businesses, and you're just like, shut up. um they People just lived in an entirely different world, and I know that's not everybody, because people part of like the writers guild and the SAG and stuff, they range from, not everybody like is a Matt Damon, and there's people from all across the spectrum trying to make it big, people who work and live paycheck to paycheck just like everybody else. So, or not everybody else, but a lot of other people. So I don't know where all these folks stood. I know there's, a lot of people out in like California, people who aren't conservative by any means, or on the right by any means, who are, anti-bags and have been for a minute. So I'm not saying that these people didn't stand up against this stuff, but it really did feel like you were living in two different worlds. So I it's interesting to kind of watch. Again, I'm not too emotionally invested. Um, I remember when there was like the writer strike before. A lot of shows ended. A lot of writing wasn't great. It really disrupted the flow of entertainment, and this obviously already has, and it will definitely disrupt. Actors, aren't supposed to go to things that would promote their film, so they're not gonna be able to, like the promotion for Barbie and other stuff like that. That's gonna stop, you know. Which I wasn't gonna see Barbie anyway. um, so expect a lot of delays, I guess, on or more delays on stuff that you're gonna watch or you plan to watch. Stuff was already being like restructured, especially with Disney, because they're losing a lot of money and they're seeing that people aren't as interested. Bob Iger already talked about it's not, is it Bob Iger, or am I blending the two? Because Bob Chapek was the other one. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, Robert, Bob, whatever. So they he said that they're going to dial it back with the Marvel and Star Wars stuff. So just expect stuff to be really really different going forward for a little while, and we'll keep talking about it. I'll have to keep looking, keep researching, keep reading, and see where this goes. But I guess a lot of us, in the talk about stuff business and news consumption business, are gonna um, be a little bit of your entertainment for now. But you guys can also read some books and other things and check out some independent folks who have nothing to do with any of this stuff for your entertainment needs. So FYI, I do write. Another thing though, if you are in the unions, and let's say you're aspiring or something and you're not in the unions or whatever, um it's possible that studios might come to you for work. But if you do any work, SAG and other folks will never let you into their union, because they will call you a scab. um so I'm not a big fan of, like, I know people can definitely get benefit from unions. I don't love unions, especially living in Michigan and knowing a bit about, the auto industry unions, and see a lot of issues with that. In Michigan, we actually repealed right to work when the Democrats took control, so that's not great. But I don't know, there's definitely pros and cons to all these things. But anyway, I'm gonna move on. Really quickly, have you guys seen this image of Biden like biting a baby? And like Finland. So I know it's a thing for politicians to like nibble, not nibble, that's weird. Like kissing babies and other stuff like that. That's like kind of the, if you were doing like a cut scene of in a film for like a politician going around and campaigning or whatever, there's gonna be one when he like holds a baby and kisses a baby. But I'm really curious, do people actually like this in real life? Do you have to like be just that invested in the particular candidate to be like, oh, that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that. Let me just show you the buy-in thing and then like add my commentary. I mean, I do think I think this is a bit weird to do to someone else's child. Um, you know, in my opinion.
His trip overseas, just leaving Finland a short time ago on his way back from the United States. More analysis on his performance on the world stage. And his trip overseas, just leaving Finland a short time ago on his way back from the United States. More analysis on his performance on the world stage. And
You know, my sister, I won't say what politician it was, but we were at an event and a politician and came up to her and she had her baby and he touched her baby and she has never forgotten. She's still upset about it. And she's like, they have kids. They should know not to be touching other people's kids in this flu season. I don't know where they've been, etc. Blah blah blah. So like, forget if it. I mean, the, nibbling the baby. I think that's weird, especially like, not that people don't like blow on the baby's stomach and all that kind of stuff. You might do that with your baby or your niece or nephew or something like that. But stranger danger. I think that's a little weird. um and mom's kind of like laughing or whatever, so I guess they'll always have the story of like, yeah, Joe Biden, the president of the United States, nibbled you a little bit. So I don't think they mind all that much, but like in real life, if someone like came up to your baby and started nibbling on them, would you be like, bro, what the heck? Because again, my sister like was still like, he touched my child. And she was upset about that. And if we bring up this person, she will still bring this up to the day. And the baby didn't catch a flu from him or anything like that, but boundaries. You don't know where everybody's been. So anyway, Joe Biden, he is he's raising a lot of money. So he's raising about twice the amount compared to his Republican counterparts, which is a bit concerning. Because it kind of looks like, I don't know, they're running their reelection. They're trying to make their narrative be known. Like, they keep talking about Bidenomics and trying to claim inflation's not bad, and they're like, oh, it's only 3%. It's like, oh, so it's still up. So they're trying to really rearrange what these sort of things mean. And Kamala Harris is doing going around on some media tours sounding like an idiot. It doesn't feel like there's any momentum. So to hear that he's raising upwards of 70 million like in the second quarter and stuff already, that's I think that's very interesting, that he's outpacing Republicans so much, especially even with like the Trump getting momentum with his indictment and other stuff like that. And then DeSantis has some big donors and stuff that are behind him, or that have invested and see him as the alternative to Trump. So if you think it's just gonna be a slam dunk to defeat Joe Biden, I would like to think that. I would like to hope that, but I don't know, guys. You didn't feel momentum before, like in 2020 at all. You were like, this is a basement campaign, you know. And you would like to think that all these people have woken up and they see that their pockets are hurting, that gas is still high. It's not as high as it was, obviously, but it's still high and it just went up again. At least around me, it just went up again. It's groceries. It's hard to pay for that. If you have a family, my gosh, my heart I mean, everyone has a family, but if you have a family that you are taking care of, like kids and all that stuff, and you have a grocery bill that is astronomically higher than it used to be, my heart really goes out to you. It sucks, just with me and my sister, so if you got a bunch of different kids and stuff, you got to buy, all the milk for the babies and the juice and the all that stuff. It times are tough right now, but they're literally like, oh, the economy's great. They're marching people on MSNBC and other places to be like, oh, get over it, guys. It's not that bad. People can feel it. You can have whatever talking points you want. And there's gonna be some people who parrot it or whatever. But when people see their bills, you're not gonna be able to convince them a different reality. But even still, if you invested into Biden and you're like, well, I'm gonna choose him over the orange man, you know, people don't like to be wrong, and people don't like to admit they're wrong. And someone changing their vote, that's a hard thing to do because it requires you people saying like, I made a mistake. And I think I hope there's gonna be enough people that are like, we need to change course and go to a better direction. But some people double down. Some people will be like, well, we just need a little more time. They'll make every excuse in the book. Like, well, things are bad at the beginning, really bad, and they're bad now. But think about how bad they were before, you know? And Biden created so many X amount of jobs after, you made people lose their jobs. I hate that when they talk about Biden creating more jobs than any incoming president. I'm like, you guys are trash. You guys crashed the economy just to have a really dumb talking point. That and some people fall for it, but I'm just like, you guys are so I don't know, evil. I I just think so many people are invested in um the status quo, that even if people who are Democrats may know that Biden is awful and isn't quite with it, that they will continue investing their vote, their time, and their money, um, because they don't want another flip of the direction or another turn or something like that. They don't want Republicans back in power. They don't. I mean, what if you got someone on the another conservative on the court, or you replaced, Thomas with someone who's just like another Thomas. They don't want stuff like that. So at the end of the day, a lot of these people are still going to double down. So if you don't have a goal of actually trying to um, engage, you know, not just going the same old, like really trying to gain votes from other people who maybe really didn't vote for you before, or who like independents, and if there's like no plan for expansion, I don't know. I just don't think 2024 is a slam dunk, whether it's Trump or even DeSantis. I think DeSantis would have a better shot in the swing states. Um, but he's not great at campaigning. Just because he has some good interviews here and there, and can take it right to the media or press or whatever. He had some struggles in 2018. He really did. So I'm just fair warning, guys. Just do not get cocky about 2024. Before I move on to this video with the Savvy video that I wanted to reply to, I just gotta show you guys the Snow White thing um from Disney. So you guys know they're remaking Snow White. They're doing a live action Snow White. And the actress is not white. And but the people are really talking about the dwarves. So I really liked Snow White growing up. Like I had a whole set of dwarves actually. And I had a Snow White pillowcase and like the whole like bed set and other stuff. Um So not white as snow. Um, but there's your dwarves, man. Does this look like a real movie? um, this is what happens when you order a movie from Temu or Wish or something. Um, I don't understand this. Beyond the need for like the inclusion, and the diversity and stuff like that. Why did they take jobs away from smaller actors? You know? Why? I don't understand that. There's only so many and maybe they don't want to always play roles like this. That's fair. um but there's a lot of jobs that, they're going to want, if you want like a Chris Hemsworth or something like that, there's going to be some people who can't audition for that. So you got something that's these are the heroes of the story. um so I don't think it's, obviously they have a smaller person who's there in the casting, so it's not like terribly offensive. I don't think it'd be offensive if the whole 7 men dwarves were actually dwarves. And again, I talked about this when they were talking about this originally. To see a picture of it is just wild to me, what they actually did with the casting. But the dwarves are the heroes of the story. They're the ones who take Snow White in, after she's been chased and by the huntsman and other stuff like that. And or the huntsman helped her get away. He was going to kill her, tells her to leave, that the evil queen was going to like take her heart or whatever. So she flees. And so they take her in, and once they think, once she eats the poison apple, it was them who went to go chase down the queen and ended up killing her. They were like, they got their axes, their pickaxes, like, we're about to go stab her or something. They were ready to go to war. And in the film, they chased her like up a mountain or whatever, and she was still like old and, decrepit looking. And so she ended up, like falling to her death, because, they liked to kill villains like that, besides like Ursula, who they just like impaled. That was pretty gruesome. But like Gaston like fell to his death, and so I think it's just like a bit of a repeat thing. But they were the heroes of the story. So I think it's a very noble role to have. And I don't get this. And one of them is a girl, right? With the hair up in the butt. It looks like a girl, I think. Um this is wild to me. And their costumes don't look good. I don't know. This looks like another Dead on Arrival, guys. I wonder what the trailers will look like, but this looks like Dead on Arrival. Looks like Dead on Arrival. Stephen Miller had a funny tweet. I'm trying to find it. He said, my complaint with Snow White has always been that the story didn't resemble a Portland homeless encampment. So this is refreshing. I guess it does look a little bit more like Portland homeless encampment. So um thank you for the bold step forward, Disney. You're really killing it, I guess. Anyway, let's move on. So this video I'm about to show you, I'm going to show you a video reply that Savvy did to someone. I also video replied to someone, and you can find it in my shorts and on TikTok. But this person is a trans woman and was lecturing everybody on the term cisgender. And this person, I believe, was like, it is in the dictionary, like pointed to the dictionary to teach you guys. And so I do have an article about I think that's what spawned off me writing an article about cisgender being a slur. And people had been saying it before, but I'm like, yes, you can say cisgender is in the dictionary or something like that, but so is the N word. That doesn't give you the right to call me that. And to people are like, it's not the same thing. Of course, the N word isn't the same like everything else. I think it's funny when people are like, well, it's obviously not the same thing because why won't you say it? I'm not saying the word because I don't know how YouTube or whatever is going to react to it, or but there's other words that I don't say, and that I would rather say the N word than that those words. Like I don't say any curse words. So, a lot of people who say that or claim they don't say it, a lot of people don't believe that you don't say it. Like I listened to Beyonce's Lemonade and I just left out the N word. Sure you did, when you were alone in your kitchen singing. Nobody believes you. Nobody believes you when you're singing these rap songs and you just like decide to not say the word. No, you know that scene in White Chicks when they're in the car and Marlon and um well, the brothers are like, they're undercover as white women. And so they're with a group of other white women and they don't know that they're white. I mean, because they took the identities with these two white women. And so they turn on the radio and they start saying the N word. And they're just like, how can you say that? And they're just like, what? No one's around. And then they all like look around a bit and then they turn up the music and they all start singing it. I am not saying everyone, you have free reign to do that. You can say that word at your own peril. But I'm just letting you know a lot of people don't believe you when you say you don't say the word. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There's one interview with Samuel L. Jackson, and he's being interviewed by this sweet looking um young white man. And I don't remember what brought it up, but he's like, you've never said the word? He's like, no sir. And he's like, you've never said the word? He's like, no sir. And he's like, say it. He's like, mm-mm. He's like, say it. And he won't say it. And he's like, okay. But it was just a funny interview. But again, people don't quite believe you don't say it most of the time. I'm not saying everybody says it. Um, you know, but a lot of people don't believe you. But anyway, um, back to the actual thing. You guys can go read that This Is a Slur article, whatever. Go back and watch that short where I replied to it. But anyway, Savvy decided to reply to this person. Then I'm going to show you what the person said in response to Savvy that I really want to get to, but I have to show you Savvy's video before I can reply to this other person.
Well, I've been getting comments like this.
This is what's weird to me, and I don't know if it'll ever make sense. You can call yourself whatever you want, define yourself however you choose. It affects me not at all. I know who and what I am, and I'm confident in that. So your self-perception means absolutely nothing to me. That doesn't seem to be true on the flip side, or else we wouldn't be having this argument over the word cis. This is where I get confused. If the word cis was created for people like me, why do people like you get so mad when we reject it? The question isn't why do women reject cis? We don't need a reason. The question is, why do you get so mad when we do? The truth is the word cisgender, cissexual wasn't created for us. It was created for you. It was created as an antonym to transsexual, to give validity to your experience, which is why women reject it. Not to say you're invalid, but your sense of validity is not our responsibility. The concept of gender identity doesn't exist for most people, so why would we adopt a word where it does?
So that last bit right there where she says the concept of gender identity doesn't exist to most people. They don't get it or don't accept it, flat out reject it. So I think well in my case I'm flat out rejecting like I understand what you mean by it. Um and my response is so what? Like has nothing to do with me. I reject cis. I do like I said, I have an article that says cis is a slur. And I don't mean like if you call me that I'm like ready to fight or I'm gonna go cry in a corner or that my feelings are smashed into teeny tiny little pieces, or that I'm invalid and no longer exist, as folks, on the other side of the aisle like to say when you won't use your pronouns or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's a term that is meant to undermine women by trying to imply that there's any other kind of woman that's possible than a female. Right? You have this firm foundation of what a woman is, and you're bringing in cis to try to bust it up with a sledgehammer so you can erect a flag that says trans women are women, and we say no. Women are not replaceable. We're not interchangeable. You can't identify your way into it to just reinforce different stereotypes, which is pretty sexist. It's like on one hand they want to get rid of stereotypes, on another they need them to validate their experience. So we reject it. We're not okay with it. So that was her response. So again, she made this video back in like March, and I just came across last night this video that someone did in reply to her, and I thought it was so bizarre and delusional, just to be frank.
If the word cis was created for people like me, why do people like you get so mad when we reject it?
It's an antonym. Cisgendered is the antonym, is the opposite of transgender. Just like the
So she already acknowledged that it was created to be an antonym for transsexual. So if that's not dispute, but she's saying that it was created to validate your feelings. So I really don't feel like this person addressed really what her points were, but his points are pretty interesting. I'll just play the whole thing.
The antonym for left is right and up is down. That's what it is. The reason why it's considered transphobic, if you are going to make a statement like "don't call me cisgender," is because normally when people make statements like that, it is because they don't want to feel equal to trans people. Because those people want to feel like the default human, the way that they're supposed to come out, and they want to other trans people because they didn't come out normal. So you have two people, one group of people whose sense of gender identity does not match the assigned sex at birth, and then the other group of people whose gender identity does match. That's it. And when you argue the contrary, you're telling the trans community and trans people that we're othered, that we're in another group, we're not normal, we're not the default human, there's something wrong with us. It also tells us that you might believe that trans people must be categorized and labeled as a different group of people, and anyone who is not trans, they don't have to worry about that standard. Now, I'm not saying that this is what you're doing. I'm saying that this is what the trans community takes from these kinds of conversations. An eagerness to learn and make behavioral changes towards the trans community in your own life will show us that that's not the case. But the kinds of conversations that the trans community is forced to have on a daily basis just to argue for our own existence, and the responses that we get back don't really give us a lot of optimism about the sincerity of the questions that we receive. Please, take this information and do better.
So, again, we don't accept the identity. So really didn't address that really. But when I first listened to this, what really threw me for a loop is like, when if we don't accept cisgender, then we're saying that they're not normal. And I'm sorry, do I not live in a world where they tell you that you must use the proper pronoun, or it's violence against trans people and it's violence because if you don't affirm their identity, they're going to unalive themselves? Do I not live in that world? Do we all not live in that world that they say you have to affirm your child's identity or they're going to unalive themselves? That you rather have a live son than a dead daughter? Is that not how Chloe Cole ended up getting her breast chopped off because that's how her parents agreed to it? that they scare these parents into that sort of position. That's not normal. It's not normal. It's dysphoria. Isn't that the whole point, that you have gender dysphoria? It's not normal. It's not normal. I'm not saying that you should be ostracized from society, or people should treat you cruelly, or not treat you equal. Everybody deserves the same kind of rights that we're entitled to. You just don't get like these special privileges that they particularly want. But no, you don't get to say, if you don't use my pronouns, then you're saying, but I don't exist. Who else talks like that? That if I don't accept that like a Dylan Mulvaney is I don't know if I've heard Dylan use the don't exist stuff, but people say that stuff all the time, like, oh, you're saying I don't exist. I'm talking to you. We're having a conversation. Of course you exist. Of course you exist, and you're not going to Thanos snap out of existence if I don't use your preferred pronoun. So you're us not using cis. Oh, you're saying we're not normal. Are you, if you're saying you're born in the wrong body? Isn't that what people say? We're born in the wrong body. You think there's something wrong with? That's why you want the sex changes and the drugs. You guys know that scene in Zoolander's like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here. No, you're not normal. That's the whole point. That you want a change. You feel something is wrong with your body. And then there are parents who try to tell their children that there is nothing wrong with your body. Like there was a mom in Chicago who she was separated. She was divorced from her husband. He was her ex or whatever. And her daughter decided that she was trans, and she had like full custody pretty much of her child. And so she went to go visit her dad, or maybe he had her like a day or two or whatever. And he had this I don't know, psychotherapist or whatever that he got remarried to or was with. And the next thing she knows, she can't see her child because they're like, she is actually a he, and you're not supportive, and you're and you're actually harming her and stuff. And so she's just like, I cannot accept that there's something wrong with her body. I reject that. I reject that there's something wrong with her body. But this woman cannot see her child. She is not allowed to see her daughter because the courts ended up siding with dad. There are parents who have lost custody of their children because they said there's nothing wrong with your body. It's a software problem, not a hardware problem, but they want to change the hardware to accommodate the software. But if everyone else doesn't go along with acknowledging the hardware and software issue, then they still say that they might cause, cell termination. So it's not a matter of we don't want to be called cisgender because we think we're better than somebody. That's not what it is. Like so many people like try to apply some kind of big morality to different topics. It's really not about that. It's not about feeling that someone is better or not better. But I am a woman. I don't identify as a woman. Cisgender doesn't, beyond like the undermining, like making you a subclass in your own sex and other stuff like that. Beyond all those things, I'm not cisgender because you identify as the same. Your gender identity correlates with your assigned sex at birth or whatever. I don't identify as a woman. I am a woman. I don't buy into the gender identity stuff. You can if you want to. That's all gobbledygook to me. I don't acknowledge it. I don't respect it. I can understand where you're coming from and understand what you're saying. I don't buy it. So no, I'm not cisgender. I am a woman, and only women are female. So if you call me cisgender, that would be inaccurate. and you don't want to be misgendered or miscalled things. So if you can stick to your own principle and not try to enforce these terms on other people, but you don't have principles, you just have a lot of feelings that you want people to accommodate. But that's wild to me, man. That's wild to me. And there are people, someone I know was talking about a trans friend of theirs, and they hate the community, man. They hate the community, and they're trans, but that's just a part of their life. It's not a big deal to them. It's just another piece of who they are. It's not who they are. But we're all so into these different identities and obsessed with them, to the point where if someone doesn't acknowledge something, then they're just like, oh, I don't exist or whatever. I was on a panel. This trans woman was mad because I, called a trans man like I was, he and stuff, and so they just started calling me a dog. I was like, what is wrong with you? And it was crazy because like people on the panel were mad at me, and I'm like, this person is calling me a dog. Like, really out? They're calling me a different species. Like I'm not even human, and you guys are just okay with this person like talking to me that kind of way. It was wild to me, but I didn't make a big deal about it because I'm like, I'm not gonna let someone I don't respect hurt my feelings. So if you want to, I'm not gonna. If the point is calling someone outside of what they want to be called, it should upset them, and therefore I should call people what they want to say, what they want to be called. Then I'm just not gonna play your game, and I'm just gonna, you can keep saying that. You're just gonna keep being a rude person, but I'm not going to meet your demands. But that just makes you inconsistent with your beliefs, with your principles. And that's fine. That's fine. But no, you can't go on in life and want all these special accommodations, all these special rights, everybody tiptoeing around your feelings and coddling you, and then be like, oh, you don't think we're normal. It's not that anyone is like, people that women are better than trans women or something like that, but you have dysphoria. Yeah, it's not a fashion trend. It's not like it's not an identity. It's a condition. And I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I have a lot of sympathy for people who are struggling with that. And you can believe that or not believe that. I think it would be an awful thing. And I have friends who have dysphoria, and hearing their different struggles really, really is difficult to hear. I can't imagine actually feeling those feelings. But it doesn't change what is true and what is not true. It doesn't change that. So again, this video was wild to me. And Savvy is so educated and thoughtful, and I thought this video was a total mess, and really, really delusional, really, really delusional. But anyway, hope you guys can let me know what you thought in the comments in the chat. I see you guys, some of your comments, but yeah, it was just wild to me. I'll have to have Savvy on and then play that and get her full thoughts about that. I can't imagine they'll be too different. If you don't follow Savvy on Twitter, like she's a lot more tame on TikTok than she is on Twitter. On Twitter, she's just I'm not gonna say wild, but she's just says what she wants to say, bruh. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed the show, please go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on the website, different articles, videos, etc. Make sure that you guys are sharing, make sure you guys are popping in your email, so you guys get different emails and stuff. Check out different merch that we have at the store. like the Be Better Not Bitter shirt. We got the My Money My Business for you people concerned about how they spending your money. Got the black tea mug here. So check out the different merch at the store. That does also help. If you like what I do here, please consider going to the website and leaving a donation at blacktnews.com/donate. It costs to stream. It costs to run my website. There's different needs that we have here. So if you can support, I very, very, very much appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who has done that. Thank you to people who've given super chats and super thanks and stars and all that stuff. But if you can go that extra mile, again, appreciate it. Bible says you have not because you ask not. So I make sure to ask, because you never know when someone, can help and they're willing to help, and they just, need to know that we're looking. So again, I'm very grateful to all of you out there. By the way, last night we had our party for the fallen and the wounded and fallen soldiers fund, and it was a really great event. We had a great turnout, even when it started at 6 and I got there like the program didn't start till it wasn't supposed to start till like a quarter to 7. It was started a bit late, but I got there to the parking lot, and then there was like a shuttle over to the actual estate where it was, and there's basically no parking. It was pretty much full in the front area, and they said there was about 500 cars. So they said there was over 1,000 people there yesterday who they estimated or whatever. So it's the 6th year that we've done it, and I've been doing it for, I think this is my 3rd year being a part of it. And so it used to be just a handful of people raising money for veterans and their families and stuff, and it just continues to grow and grow and grow. There were boxers there. I met Miss Olympia was there. I met well, I guess a lot of other people I know. I never met Candace Miller in real life. I mean, I know who she was. At first I didn't register. I'm like, oh my gosh. And she's like, Candace Miller. I'm like, yeah, I know who you are. Candace Miller is a congresswoman in Michigan. Other people who were elected officials were there. And one of the honorees actually was a teacher of mine. And I was listening to the bio and I was like, wait a second. I'm like, that's where I went to school. And I'm like, is that I just couldn't remember if that, when they said his name, if that was the right name. And so we did talk briefly, but I don't think we quite, I didn't say anything because I wasn't quite 100% sure. Because to me, his voice didn't sound the same. And, but I guess that was almost it was more than 10 years, not quite 20 years, but I guess we're getting there. But he didn't sound the same, so I just wasn't confident enough to say, hey. But he did compliment me on singing the national anthem. He's like, you're the singer, right? I say, yeah. And I'm like, and I just thanked him for his service and stuff. And then my sister was like, that was our teacher. And then he was walking kind of fast out, so we didn't chase him down or whatever. But yeah, that was an interesting little surprise, because I did not know. I did not know. So it was a great event, raised a lot of money for veterans and their families. So had a nice time. Got dressed up and got to go to a state party, and sang the national anthem. And people are always so sweet when I sing. They do offer loads of compliments and stuff, but I'm really not nervous to do it. Like I used to be a little nervous. I used to be really nervous singing the song, but I've done it enough times, and I'm like, I can nail it. I can do, just start on the right key. You'll do okay. And but the one thing that really blesses my heart so much is when people are blessed by me singing the song, and when you have people thanking you for doing justice to the song or doing a rendition of the song, or veterans are happy and proud of the fact that you sang it well. And so I always feel like you've done so much for the country. All I did was sing a song. So if it tremendously blessed you, um it, and I could do my small part, um it's just really an honor, because it really is a small part, but it means so much. It's one of the many reasons why the kneeling during the national anthem tick me off. Like, I don't like Kaepernick and all the rhetoric around what happened. But just as someone who sings a song and knowing how much it can be when you sing it and sing it well, I can't sing well. When you sing it well and you see how much you can see in their eyes, how much this song means, how important the country is. Like, one of the veterans was talking about the people who didn't make it back from the battlefield, and they said their blood and their bodies, they're buried within the red, white, and blue and stuff. And it means so much to these people. So I just hated the whole period of the kneeling and the controversy with the national anthem. I really did, and I still do to this day. I don't know if anyone's really still protesting it and stuff. Um, but I hated that period of time. People doing that. I'm like, I would never dare to do that. And I just don't, and I don't think a lot of people can share my experience and my perspective on it. But if you're a singer, you ought to know, right? You ought to know. I don't know if people sing in as many like political places where there might be as many veterans. You have the opportunity to do that in front of so many veterans. And they did, fight for you to be able to have the freedom to protest too. Like, there were some, veterans or whatever allegedly who told like Kaepernick like to that, they support him and what he does, and they fought for him to be able to do that as well. I'm not saying that that's not also true, but I just think a better way to honor them and what they've done and what they've sowed into this country and for liberty and freedom is to just stand there for like a minute and 30 or 2 minutes, ever long it takes to sing the song, put your freaking hand over your heart, and look solemnly or at the flag while someone sings a darn song. But anyway, I had a good night. um we had a good night, and if anyone out there did donate, I appreciate it, and I know the organization appreciates it, and the troops appreciate it. So the veterans and their families. So God bless you guys. I will, there'll be some videos and stuff posted over the weekend, but I will see you live on Monday. Though again, I want to nudge you guys to go check out some of my books that I've made and written, that you guys can, if you go to Black Teen News and hit the merchandise button, there is a banner that'll take you to my book website. But if you just search my name, Christina with a CH Bar, on Amazon, you'll be able to find all my projects that I've been, have published. And I'm always working, always writing on something new. I should have some new things out by November, because that's the next Comic-Con that I'll be at. So I want to have the sequel to this out. So very excited. I know some of you have checked out The Dark Mermaid and are waiting for the next one. So yeah, that'll be there. So very excited. So God bless you guys, and I will see you on Monday.